One of the greatest honors I've ever been bestowed in my 27 years serving the city of Glendale is to introduce Lieutenant Joe Torrillo. Lieutenant Torrillo is going to come up and speak to you. He is from the Fire Department of New York, served at FDNY for 25 years before unfortunately being medically retired due to the injuries he suffered as one of the sole survivors of the World Trade Center collapses. Lieutenant Torrillo served in a firehouse very, very close to the buildings, was there when they collapsed again, and was pulled out as, again, I believe the only survivor of the collapse from the fire department. So it is with a great honor that I introduce Lieutenant Joe Torrillo. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. I appreciate that great introduction. And of course, you know, flew in last night at the last minute, to be honest with you, and I know I'm very, very grateful for all the people that made my presence here in Phoenix, Arizona possible. So many of you did so much hard work. Miss CJ must have called me like 9,000 times, and I was on the phone with Rick Oliveris, who, you know, the man behind the scenes is really the horsepower in this event. And I'm a little nervous when I travel, I'll be honest with you, but luckily I always carry this uniform on a hanger, because I'm sure the last time that somebody looks like me and sounds like me comes from Brooklyn, New York to Phoenix, Arizona, you're probably in the witness protection program. I mean, look, I'm not uptight about it. Everything, it is what it is. But I really am very, very grateful and deeply honored to be here to share in this really great event where we take out the time, and I think for way too long, we miss all these opportunities. And I have to tell you, if anybody's guilty, I am as guilty as anybody in this country, that unfortunately for so many years we took for granted the commitment and the dedication, the self-sacrifice, even beyond the point of somebody making the ultimate commitment of laying down their life to protecting the integrity of our country. And I know it's often said by a lot of speakers that the United States of America is the greatest country in the world. I'm very careful on when I say that, because a lot of times there are people in the crowd who were born in other countries, and at the sake of sounding very pompous and also sounding very, very maybe nasty, I'm very careful when I say that. But what I will say, and I'll say this for the rest of my life, there's no other country in the world that does it better than the United States of America. Yeah! This is a country where its people and its government, we owe no excuse to any other group of people or any other country on the face of the earth. There is no other group of people, there is no other country that has made the commitment to the human spirit, to the human life, like the people of the United States of America. I have two uncles who I never knew. Both of them were killed in action in World War II. And I take this very, very seriously. And of course, I'm one of the people who always took for granted, oh, it's Veterans Day, I'm off from school today, which was really all my patriotism ever risen to. And I think as a country, we have become very complacent people, unfortunately. But it took an incident 9 years ago on September 11, 2001, as words were echoed before me, where life in this country was changed and rearranged in ways that we never expected or we never wanted. It had been so many years since December 7th, 1941, when bombs were dropped on Pearl Harbor. We forgot that. Everything that was going on in Northern Ireland, we were insulated. Everything that goes on in Israel, we're insulated. We became a group of very comfortable people. But on the morning of September 11, 2001, we would be tested. But what the terrorists didn't know, although our buildings had crumbled and tumbled, the people of the United States would not give in. And we will never, ever give in to any terrorist act. I am sure that every one of us will fight for the integrity of this country to the rest of our life. And in my retirement now, my quest is to make this country the re-United States of America by inducing patriotism back into the people where it belongs. And on behalf of all the people in the United States of America, on behalf of all of our government officials, I want to officially, because I know it hasn't been done before, I'd like to officially and formally thank all the men and women who made a commitment during the Vietnam War. Nobody ever said thank you in a way that you deserved it. And let's face it, there is no secret that this is a country that never made mistakes during its history. Why does every pencil come with an eraser? We've made our mistakes, but we've owned up to our mistakes. And at every step of the way, this is a country that tries to correct itself. And I think we've done that to the best of our ability. And I stand here proud today as a member of the New York City Fire Department. By the time the sun went down on September 11, 2001, 344 firefighters were declared dead. There was only one of them that was found alive, and that was me. Why I live, I have no idea. I really think it's because I owe out so much money, everybody was praying for me. I have no idea. But I am on a mission. I'm on a mission to make sure that everybody in this country, especially the young kids, get to appreciate the members of our military, especially those right now that are sitting in foxholes on the other side of the world, fighting for what we enjoy most, is our freedom. And if anybody in this country doesn't believe or think that they live in the best country in the world, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. There's 9,240 airports across the 50 states of the United States. You can find a flight to any country you think is going to serve you better. And if anybody's foolish enough to take me up on this offer, I know you're smart enough to book your trip with a round-trip ticket, because you'll never find another place as good as the United States. All of us here today inherited this country from all of the people before us. Hundreds of years before, going back to the birth of this nation in 1776, who persevered every day, who committed themselves, who sacrificed to make this country what it is today. And I hope everybody here feels a moral obligation to leave this world a better place than when we inherited it. And if you don't want to do that, I don't know what you're doing in this country. I'm not running for political office, so I could care less whether you quote me or put this on the TV news tonight. So once again, I'm really, really grateful for everybody who made this possible. Of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Sanderson Ford and, Hollywood, Rick Oliveras and CJ and all the veterans and the Honor Guard and the members of the local police department. And I'm really, really grateful. I hope one day this silly kid with this Sopranos accent gets to come back here again. Matter of fact, if you invite me, I'll make you spaghetti and meatballs. I can do that too, But at this time, I want to introduce to you my counterpart, somebody I started my career with 30 years ago. I was a new firefighter in New York City. My firehouse was right across the street from the Twin Towers. And there's a police lieutenant here today by the name of Davey Lim. I remember Davey when he was a rookie police officer. Dave protected the towers from crime. I protected them from the threat of fire. And I'm very, very proud that Davey rose through the ranks, and Davey was one of the few survivors of the Port Authority Police Department, and he's here today to represent them and to tell you his story. And in closing, just let me say, my God bless you all always in all ways. Davey, thank you very much.